We have all been educated by a systemically racist education system. We know that in 1865, it was illegal for a black person to learn to read or write. But then what we don't realize is that 12 years later, when Reconstruction ends, there were 1,400 black people who were successfully able to hold political office. Now think about that. You have a system where you couldn't learn to read or write 12 years before, and then 12 years later, 1,400 black people were able to actually advance themselves enough that they were successfully able to hold political office. And this is critically important because it helps us realize it's never been a question about black ability, it's always been a question about black access. It's the Hayes-Tilden Compromise. And within the Hayes-Tilden Compromise, there's this backdoor deal that takes place, and there's an agreement to remove the federal troops who are therefore protecting blacks in their pursuit of equity in exchange for a political exchange, and therefore blacks in the South are no longer protected, and then laws that were applied all throughout the region that essentially criminalized blackness, to the point that in many states, you could be arrested as a black person for walking too close to a wooden picket fence. When we talk about lawlessness, the image that comes to our mind are black and brown bodies, if we're honest with ourselves. And we've been socialized to think that. But if we really want to have an honest conversation about lawlessness in our nation, I want to persist that we cannot have an honest conversation about the history and legacy of lawlessness in this nation without talking about the legacy of lawlessness of white elected officials. This history and legacy of anti-black violence that has become normative within our nation. But then some people are like, oh, well, 1907, the country was pretty racist, I can believe that. But we've gotten so much better. So let's fast forward into the Civil Rights era and look at this quote from Bull Connor, the Public Safety Commissioner, who says, "Damn the law, down here we make our own law." Bull Connor was notorious for getting on the radio in Birmingham, which was nicknamed Bombingham because of the number of bombs that were let off in the black community. And when a black community was moving into a white neighborhood, he would be on the radio saying, "A black family is moving into this neighborhood. Tonight we should expect bloodshed." So now I'm going to go into some of the rationales for why black people were lynched. This all comes from Bryan Stevenson's Equal Justice Initiative lynching memorial that was constructed earlier this year. A conservative estimate says 5,500 black people were lynched between 1877 and 1952. But virtually none of us learned about this within our US educational system. Hence why I talked about it being institutionally racist. Because you cannot say that something like this that was such a foundational part of US history should not be taught in our history books. Why are we talking about lynching when we're supposed to be talking about our criminal justice system and mass incarceration? What we need to know is that out of the 5,500 black people who were lynched in our nation, and again, that's a very, very conservative estimate, there were virtually no one who was arrested for these racial massacres. This was even true when the men who lynched the body stand around the body afterwards and take pictures with pride. And these pictures oftentimes would be put into the newspaper for everyone to see, and then no one would be held accountable for what's going on. So I want you to think about being a member of the black community and your father, your sister, your cousin, your best friend's father is this body. And you see these men who live in your community, who operate grocery stores, and they're doctors or different things in your community. You know who that person is. And then law enforcement says, well, we didn't arrest anybody because we don't know who did it. But there is a choice being made about what is US history and what is not. And that choice is not made by people who look like me.